Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James. Second. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland! This is for you!
Hey everybody, sorry for that wrong intro music. I don't know how that got selected at all. But I'm Skylar Webker. He's Ben Brown. Ben, how are we doing after hearing the Cavs intro music there?
Dude, it's incredible. Doing awesome, man. Doing awesome. Listen, you run this show so well. When something like that happens, it's like, listen, we just got brushed off, keep moving. You know what I mean? So, but no, dude, I'm doing incredible. Reds baseball's back. It's got some spring training to talk about, man. Feels like it's been forever. Yeah, I'm just ready to go. Super excited.
Oh, same here. And I know we were talking about it a little bit before hopping on, but just feeling all American today with you got baseball back with the hockey, U.S. men's hockey team.
Yeah.
Congratulations to them. I mean, what an incredible game and series, and just all the storylines, all the drama, everything. Like I know Joey might come in here and everything, but hey, it's proud to be an American today.
Yeah, man, it was incredible. Like it's one of those things where everything else in America could be going crazy, but when the Olympics is on and America's facing anybody else for a gold medal, like we're all on the same team. So,
yeah,
it was just incredible to watch. I mean, just like I said, I was at a volleyball tournament today, and people were half watching their daughters play volleyball and half watching the hockey game. They were just doing this the whole time. I mean, and it was just a lot of fun. And as soon as they scored that golden goal, man, like those poor girls thought that everybody was cheering for them, but we were cheering for hockey. So I mean, it was legit. It was awesome.
No doubt. So as we get into we have spring training games to talk about. We have Reds content to talk about, and Joey Gaditza, he does actually join in today. He says he can take his lumps. Let's talk about baseball now. We won't pour salt into the wounds, Joey.
Yeah, now listen, yeah. We're not gonna pour salt, man. No, for sure. We're here. We'll talk some baseball.
So one thing I wanted to kind of get into with you, Ben, is FanGraph kind of put out their predictions for the season, and they do not like the Reds. They have the Reds finishing fourth in the division, behind the Cubs, the Brewers, and the Pirates. Only about a 20% chance of making the playoffs, but I know that the Pirates have added a lot, but I don't think they added quite what everybody's projecting for them.
Yeah, I don't think that they've done enough to change their trajectory. They've added a few pieces here and there, but they had so many just glaring holes. I don't think they filled them all. Unlike the Reds, where I felt like the Reds filled all their glaring holes, and their roster turnover and the guys that they're bringing in, and between the pitching staff, the relievers that we were able to get, the big bat in the middle, I think the seasons that these guys are going to have, I don't see them finishing behind the Pirates. I don't think the Pirates did enough.
Yeah, I mean, they've done a lot, which kudos to them. Kudos to getting better. I want every team to always get better. Mm-hmm. They finished 71 wins last year. I don't see that with the additions that they've made. They didn't add 15 wins to get to an 86, which is right around where everybody's, or 89 is really where FanGraphs has them, which to me is like, I don't, do the FanGraphs know something, or do they know nothing? Because they have them finishing one game behind the Brewers at 80. They were either 86 wins or 88 wins, right in that area. With the Reds finishing right at kind of 500, which I think we would all agree this team is better than last year's team.
Yeah, no, I think that in any sport, like it's really hard to make up that many wins. That's like in football. Like if a team goes 4-14 or 4-13, that's like them turning it around and going like 9-8 or 10-6 or 10-7. Like that's a big turnaround. You got to add a lot of big pieces to make up 17 games, 17 wins. That's a ton. I mean, that's a ton of win difference. Like with the Reds, like if I think we what we win 86 last year, 80,
85. Then I got
85. But I
83,
think
83
that
wins.
so we won 83, and if we predicted 87, that's 4 wins. I think that we've done enough to gain 4 wins somewhere to be 4 wins better than we were last year. 17 wins is a ton. That's an absolute ton of wins. You're expecting, I mean, that's you're basing that on the guys you picked up. You're basing it on health, guys staying healthy, guys staying in the rotations, nobody slumping. Like there's a lot of things that got to go right for you to make up 17 wins. That's a ton.
Yeah, and I mean, the guys, they didn't really add any pitching. They didn't really add any bullpen.
Mm-mm.
Like they added bats, which is good. They needed bats and run support, but you didn't get 17 wins in I don't even know how old he is, 38-year-old Marcell Ozuna. Brandon Lau's 35. Yeah. I mean, you got good pieces. Not going to discredit these guys and what they've done and what they're going to do, but 17 is a leap and a half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's you're really putting a lot on a lineup that I mean it improved some, but it got older. Like you're putting a lot on a group that's where you added older bats. Like it's just I just don't see it. I don't see that kind of improvement. 4 to 6 wins is something that falls in that range. So if you go from 71 to like 76 or 77 wins, then you're like, okay, that makes sense. Like you're there. I still don't think that's better than what the Reds have done.
No, and even just through the first two spring training games, I know they're spring training games. That's why I don't care that the Reds lost both of them. But there are a lot of things that I really liked in this team. Joey puts in here today, like the first half of this lineup today's lineup was TJ Friedl, Matt McLean, Ellie, and Gino, and that felt like good. There was a lot of production out of those, other than Gino, who I think he's just getting the at-bats in before he goes to play in the World Baseball Classic. I like this team a lot, and I wrote down some notes in here, so we can start with game 1, where they dropped against the Guardians. But one thing that I really liked was Sal Stewart. I mean, that guy, he went 0 for 1 on the day, but drew 2 walks, one of them being using the automatic balls and strike system, which will go into effect this season in Major League Baseball. And for a guy that has been told by us and by probably everybody that, oh, he's the power guy. He's the guy that the Reds are really developing to be the home run hitter. To come in and not be swinging for the fences and like trying to just rip every single ball and draw 2 walks, like that shows me that he's not just going to be this, swing at everything and just hope it flicks it over the fence. He's taking patient at bats.
Yeah, I think that's it's a good sign in your first spring training game, because a lot of times guys are trying to get cuts. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to get swings. They're trying to be aggressive. They're ultra aggressive, typically in spring training games, because they're just trying to see pitches. So I think that's a great sign that he was able to stay patient and draw a couple walks, because he's already starting to set his zone, right? He's already trying to see how people are going to pitch him, how they're going to attack him in that lineup. And I think it shows the depth of the lineup too, where you don't have to be ultra aggressive, because you do have guys around you that are going to be able to hit baseballs if you get on base. Like, the object of the game is to get on base so you can score runs. So I think he sees that, and it can make you a little bit more patient, so that you get the pitches that you want. So it was definitely good to see him do that, especially in a first spring training game where guys are usually ultra aggressive trying to get some good hacks and good swings. For him to be patient and draw a couple walks is really cool. It's good to see. That's a good sign.
Yeah, and with the ABS system, Terry Francona has already put out there that pitchers, like, he is not going to allow any pitcher on his staff use the replay system, because in a pitcher's mind, every ball is a strike. So only hitters and catchers on Terry Francona's team are going to use the challenge system, which I love that he's like putting it out there. Like, we're going to use it, but we're not letting our pitchers use it because they will burn through that. So the way that the ABS system works this year, you get 2, but you get to retain one if successful. Right.
Yeah.
So I love Tito kind of putting that out there, putting that we're going to use it. And like I said, Sal Stewart used it in the first game, saying, nope, check it, and drew his walk with it. So I like this. I like the thought mentality behind that young man. And I like having that in big instances like that, where a full count turns into a strikeout, review it. It's actually a walk. I think Ellie is going to benefit a lot from this, because he led the league in poorly called strikeouts, and leads the league almost every year in poorly called strikeouts.
Yeah, and I think it helps guys that have bigger zones like Ellie. You'll notice that with him, like an Aaron Judge, with the bigger guys where their zone is so big. And I think umpires get comfortable with, having a big zone for those guys because their zone is so big. They're so tall. They're so long. Like they get used to that big zone. So I think it helps guys like that, helps them to reel those umpires in a little bit. And especially those ones that are low, like you see at the knees, where a guy is 6'6" like Ellie, and he doesn't get those calls, to be able to challenge that in certain situations. It could lead to him getting on base in a big time situation if he's able to see that and feel that. And most major league hitters, and I would say a good portion of them, I don't want to put a percentage on it, but a good portion of them, man, really know their strike zone. Like, it's not a lot of times where a guy strikes out and he's like, oh man, that was a bad pitch. But it happens some. But most of those guys know where that ball is, and they know their zone. You saw this a lot with like a Joey Votto. Like, when Joey Votto struck out looking, you knew, like, either he was ticked off because, like, he knew the ball was a ball, or he was ticked off that he missed a strike. You know what I mean? So they know their zone so well. So I think it'll be good, and I don't think it's going to be used as much as people think it's going to be used, because those guys do know their zone very well.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm excited to see how it plays out this year. Like I said, I think it's going to benefit a lot of guys that get burned on bad calls. Ellie, obviously, being the leader on the Reds type side of it. Another thing that out of that first game is Tito went with Chase Burns as the starter, and then followed with Rhett Lauder, and those guys looked sharp. I mean, Chase Burns was already hitting, 98 on the gun, just throwing seeds, trying to mix in a little more of the off-speed pitches that he's been working on this offseason. But I was really impressed to see how those two stacked up. Rhett Lauder went scoreless in his with 4 strikeouts over his 2 innings. So it was good to see those guys, because those two are kind of linked and tandemed into who's going to take that 5th spot.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely good to see both those guys get a chance to go at it. Chase Burns, which they did an interview with him, and he was talking about adding that third pitch,
Mhm.
and how he had talked to Hunter Green in the offseason about how important that third pitch is and developing that third pitch. So, um, I think that that's a lot of the things that he's working on in the spring. I saw that he had 3 walks, but I don't care about walks in spring unless it carries over to late spring. But right now, your first outing, I don't care if you walk, guys. I mean, honestly, like you're working on stuff. You're trying to get better for the season, not right now for spring training games. So, the 3 walks is okay. But what impressed me was his velocity coming out of the gate, like you said, 98, 99. And he was able to hit pitches, and with Louder too, like him in the same thing, like 4 strikeouts in 2 innings is pretty impressive. I mean, he was able to come out there, and hit some zones. He gave up a couple hits, but like I said, I'm not worried about that in spring training. I think guys are just so focused on working on their craft that some things are going to happen. But yeah, it was good to see those guys go out there and compete because let's face it, those guys they know what's at stake, right? And
Yeah.
Tito knows what's at stake. And Tito puts them back to back. Like, come on, like it's a competition. So to see those guys go out there and actually go out and perform in their first outing on the first spring training game was really cool. And they both pitched well. They both pitched really well.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'm hoping to see a lot more of those starters here in spring training games. We didn't get really a starter today. I forgot who even pitched today. It wasn't that important. It was much more of a hitter lineup today. And then
Yeah.
we did get a Will Benson bomb. I love everything Will Benson. 2-run home run right on spring training against the Guardians, who he is just the Guardians killer through and through.
Yes, he
But
is.
it brought up some good thinking around kind of this roster and what a Will Benson role would be. It's hard to kind of pick your outfield right now because the Reds actually have quality in all the positions. But he does bring a lot of value because he can play all 3 outfield spots, a left-handed bat, and a very right-handed heavy lineup. I think Will Benson probably makes this team coming out of spring training this year. I don't know how much he'll start, but man, I love watching Will Benson hit taters all over the right field wall.
Well, I think he has so much value that like you have to have a guy like that on your roster, right? Like you bring up a great point. He can play all 3 outfield positions. He's a left-handed batter. He has the ability to hit home runs and drive runs in. He's speed on the bases. He can steal bases. So a guy like that has all those tools, you want to have him on your roster. Now, can he go and be your day-to-day? I don't know. You look at JJ Bleday today. He went 2 for 2 with 2 RBIs. So it's the depth that we're talking about. Like it's the same thing we've talked about all season, or on the off season, that like Will Benson will provide you depth when you need a left-handed bat and a guy to play wherever in the outfield. But you take the pressure off him of being that everyday guy. Because sometimes he's not going to fit in your lineup, so that's when you go to another guy. The depth there is really good to see because I think Will Benson is a big part of that depth piece in your outfield, and when you're trying to figure out who's going to be in their day in and day out.
Yeah, and the game kind of got out of hand after the starters got pulled. Same thing with today's game. After all the guys that are making this major league roster. But we go to today's game against Seattle. You kind of led into it with JJ Bleday. He was 2 for 3 today with 2 RBIs, a big double. I think they 109 off the bat, 405. Barely just stayed in the yard, but man, I'm high on JJ Bleday. I think he's a great change of scenery guy. Also coming off of a shoulder surgery last year, and we know what that's like. But if you can get a good JJ Bleday, I think he adds a lot to this lineup as well. I think he might solidify a little bit more in that left field position that I think everybody's keeping at the top of mind right now. But I was impressed with what I saw from JJ Bleday today and kind of all of the chatter and videos that the Reds share about him.
Yeah. I think that of the pieces that we got in this offseason, it's one of the better moves that we've made. I mean, and even though the Suarez move is the biggest move by far, a guy like JJ Bleday, which we've talked about it all offseason, how crucial having a guy that can play in the outfield and be consistently there day in and day out is big. So watching him come back and do the things that he's able to do now in spring training, even though it's only this game, he could be a huge benefit for us. And it's one of those guys, like you said, it's almost like the Nathan Lowe deal. Like, it was kind of an afterthought because everybody's like, he's a guy that he had an off season. He didn't play great last year, but he's got history of playing really good baseball. And sometimes the change of scenery is good, So I mean, we've talked about it. We love the Bleday move. Even when they made it, we loved it. So it's good to, like I said, it's all about the depth and the things that they're able to do. And being able to be versatile and switch up lineups. I mean, that's a key part of being able to match lineups with guys like that.
Yeah, for sure. I think having Bleday on this team definitely is going to help. And having another capable outfielder, not just trotting Gavin Lux out there and saying, learn it, because that's the only way you're getting playing time. I think.
So my question to you is though, if we go Sal Stewart, Spencer Steer, JJ Bleday, what's that in your brain? What does that combination look like? Because you've got Sal Stewart and you've got Steer at first, but then you want to have Steer at left with Bleday. So what does that look like to you?
I think it depends on how into the left-right matchup Tito wants to be. Because if they want to stack righties, they'll probably put Steer out in left field and just stack a bunch of righties. I think Bleday will probably get a lot of at-bats against right-handed hitting. He crushes right-handed hitting. I don't know if they trust him against left-handed pitching, which has always just kind of been a sinkhole on this team for the past couple of years, is hitting left-handed pitching. But I think JJ Bleday mans that left field spot, or at least shows that he can be the man in the left field spot. And we'll see how many at-bats it takes from guys like Will Benson. I don't know how much of Dane Myers we'll see on this team. Maybe we see a ton. I mean, it's good problems to have that you have too many quality bats than spots on the field. But we'll see. I think they also mentioned that Spencer Steer is talking about being the backup second baseman, which fine. If that's what you want to do, fine. But maybe don't even need a backup second baseman, because Matt McLain was also pretty impressive in today's game. 2 for 3 with a double and 2 RBIs. And Jim Day said it on the radio broadcast of this guy feels like the 2023 Matt McLain. He's hitting the ball the opposite direction. He's not trying to just hunker down and pull the ball, and was just getting really good quality at bats today.
Yeah, I think that Matt McLain, there's something about a guy who sees his baseball future in jeopardy. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not that we don't have faith in Matt McLain. They definitely had faith in Matt McLain because they kept, he played last year. He wasn't his greatest. He wasn't his best, but they put him in the lineup and he kept playing. I think that was the best thing for him. Because when a guy has and a team has belief in you, then you're really going to go to work and make sure that things get corrected. He's another one too that I don't think was healthy last year. I really, I mean, I think he battled, still with that shoulder. I think he battled some other stuff. So I think that him having another offseason from that shoulder injury and being healthy this year, having a full healthy offseason is big for him. I think you're going to see a guy that's going to be better than he was last year for sure. And he's going to play with more confidence because he knows those guys have confidence. Even when he was down, those guys still had confidence in him.
Yeah, for sure. And I think him and Ellie have just that middle of the infield chemistry. They turn so many double plays. They know where the guy was to want the ball. It's going to be hard to take Matt McClain out of the lineup. I mean, we saw last year that it was hard to take Matt McClain out of the lineup, but I think if you do slump, if Matt McClain does slump, they have guys that are ready to step in the second base position, like Sal Stewart or Spencer Steer, which is a good feeling to have, is that you have a little bit of major league depth behind guys, because I mean, we saw with Ellie last year, we talked about that part into nauseum, but you didn't have a shortstop behind Ellie. I mean, you still kind of really don't have a shortstop behind Ellie. It's Matt McClain. Right? But hey, I like it better. I like this team's depth better because you can put Matt McClain at shortstop and Spencer Steer at second, or whenever you need to give Ellie an off day or whatever it is. And Ellie, who came in spring training looking jacked. I mean, he's put on 15 pounds of muscle. They said on the broadcast, I think 10 pounds of it went to his biceps. He had a good day, 2 for 3 with 2 doubles and 2 RBIs. And I mean, I loved how they described it on the radio broadcast of, like, he's usually a guy that it's always long sleeves, maybe a hoodie, the face mask. He's got a Dominican kid, gets cold easily. Nah, not in spring training. He's been sleeveless the entire spring training.
Yeah, dude. Listen, when you put in that kind of work, you want it to be seen. You know what I mean? And that was the first thing I noticed when all these videos started coming out, and he stepped in the box, like he noticeably just looks thicker. Like he is just, I mean, his arms, his shoulders, like, man, I was like, that dude, like, he got after it in the weight room. Like and I think part of that too is that he knows his body, he has to be durable to be able to play, because he's such a vital part of what we are and who we are as a team, that I just think that he just went to work, man. And you could tell, man, like his upper body and his arms, like he definitely got after it. So kudos to him. I mean, a guy like, there's a lot of guys that would have taken their, they were an all-star. He's a 2-time all-star. He's the face of MLB The Show. Like, there's a lot of guys that would have taken that and just rested on their laurels. And he decided to get better, bigger, stronger, probably faster. It's good to see. So I'm hoping that part pans out for him, because he really did put in the work.
Yeah, for sure. And it's good to see early production. I know it's spring training games, but it's good to see early productions, good at bats, good. Like I said, with Matt McClain, he's hitting the ball opposite direction like he was in 2023. So you feel better about just some of the tendencies you're seeing out of these guys. Doesn't really matter what the result of the game is. It's purely like tendencies and what you're seeing out of production wise or swing wise or pitch location. That's what spring training is about. So I'm not trying to get 1,000 feet in front of my skis on this, but I like a lot of the things from a lot of these individuals so far.
Yeah, no, it's good to see, because it's things that we know that down the road are going to pay dividends, right? Like, those are the things that we've talked about, and those guys, good at bats, good swings, being aggressive, being progressive as far as being able to do things better than we did last year. And I think, and I know we didn't didn't talk about this, but like the opening speech from Tito talking about we are good enough to do this, and
Yeah.
I think that's the mindset of everybody. Like, okay, we're tired of being that young team that's on the fringe. We're tired of being the guys that woulda, shoulda, coulda been or made this move. Like, the time is now. And I think you see that in all those guys approach this year. Like, yeah, we were the good luck Reds and we did this and we made run like you can tell by this training camp that things are different and the way that they're attacking things are different. So, um, like you said, I don't want to get too far ahead of my skis and think too far ahead. But what you're seeing so far, just the competitiveness, guys taking good at bats, good swings. It's good to see because they're taking that growth mindset into the field.
For sure, for sure. And I'm excited for it. And I like I said, it's good problems to have. And a couple like
Hmm.
Jesse puts in here, some guys that we haven't talked about, like Nathaniel Lowe, uh,
Hmm.
Joey Gaditza puts in here, like Dane Myers could be the right-handed platoon for center field, which is a great observation. There's only 26 roster spots and 13 of them go to pitchers.
Yeah.
So trying to figure out who actually makes this team is gonna be tricky, man. I mean, right now you're sitting about 5 outfielders, 5 full-time outfielders, I would say, and Benson,
Hmm.
Meyer, Blade, Marte, and TJ Antone, and then you have your part-time outfielders and Spencer Steer. Uh, that's I don't know if all of those
Yep.
guys are going to make it. I mean, Marte is going to make it. They're not going to move. They're not going to send him down. TJ is going to make it. They're not going to send him down. The other
Mhm.
3 are kind of your questionary spots. On the infield, you kind of have Sal Stewart, you have Mike Toglia, you have Nathaniel Lowe, all fringy spots,
Mhm.
along with Spencer Steer. Those are guys that don't have lockdown positions, I would say. And I don't know. It's hard to say Spencer Steers doesn't make this team. It's hard to say Sal Stewart doesn't make this team. And
Right.
Nathaniel Lowe is a great addition. We've talked about his high praises. So it's hard to figure out how you're going to fit all these guys into a 26-man roster.
Yeah. No, it's super difficult. But like you said, it's a good problem to have. It's a problem we haven't had I'll say it's a problem we haven't had in a while. Um, and it's definitely a good problem to have. Um, eh, eh, you know, it's just so hard, man. I don't even know when you look at the roster, like who's a guy that you can't not have on that roster. Like it's got so much depth, and then you're able to maneuver guys around. You're able to move guys around. You're able to adjust guys based on pitching. You're able to adjust guys based on fielding. Like I don't know. Like it's going to be super competitive, and I would assume that that's been the mo of the training camp. Like go out and compete. Like this is the time we're trying to put the best 26 on the roster. Go out and compete, and let's see how the chips fall. And I think that's where everybody is right now. Is that everybody has a chance to be on the roster? Just go out and compete for it, which is a good problem to have.
For sure, for sure. And I'm excited to see who actually makes the opening day roster, but I think it's also beneficial in that none of these guys, I mean, other than maybe Nathaniel Lowe, but none of these guys are like going home because you
Hmm.
have multiple years of control. You have options on Dane Myers, Will Benson, JJ Bleday, Mike Toglia, kind of, I think. His is a little weird. Sal Stewart. You have control and options on these guys. So you're not in a situation where, man, we really like this guy, but we don't have room and he's not going to take a minor league deal. So then he just ends up walking. So they
Yeah.
have depth and controlled depth, which is something that they haven't had in a very long time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a good problem to have, and you know, kudos. Crazy to say, kudos to Reds management on how they have done it and addressed it, and you know, they've been pretty smart about what they've done. I mean, they've put together a roster of guys that they're able to make moves and have control and pretty much be in the driver's seat, which is what you want as management. You've put together a good roster that you have complete control over and you're in the driver's seat of, which is, as you look as a team manager or GM, like that's what you want prototypically.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, as soon as somebody starts slumping, you got backup
Yeah,
on the way.
you got that.
You can bring somebody up from AAA and who's actually going to produce, and that's a good feeling to have. And you bring up this thing about control, and it kind of leads to this next discussion point: is that the Reds have some decisions to make as far as a couple of guys on this roster's future. I mean, they're going to be on this team this year. But two guys that they're running out of control of is Brady Singer, who we know they traded for last year of control. I get the feeling that they'll probably let him walk in free agency just because they have the depth in that position. But the other guy is Tyler Stevenson. This is the last year of control for Ty Steve, and I don't know how the Reds feel about Tyler Stevenson right now.
Yeah. Let me see here. Let me do Tyler Stevenson. How old is he? 29. 29 years old. So he'll turn 30 in August. I know I've had this discussion, like the depths of good catchers is so small.
Yeah.
There's just not there's not those guys like, you know what I mean? Like your Yadier Molina's, there's not a whole lot of those guys out there where, catching, I think good catchers are at a premium. So I don't know what the financials look like, but a guy like Tyler Stevenson, to me, in my opinion, is worth trying to get something done with, because good catching is so hard to find. And I think that's why you look at a guy like Jose Trevino, who knew he was going to be the backup and still signed an extension. He's like, I know I'm going to be backup, but shoot, like this position's better than being somewhere else, because it's the catching position is so hard to find and so hard to manage. So, I think that I think he's got Tyler Stevenson, to me, has to be somewhat of a priority, because it's so hard to find good catchers. And I think he's at that level. I really do.
Yeah, they said it on the Guardians podcast or broadcast that if you can get in today's game, if you can get a catcher that gives you any offensive production, like that's a rarity. And Tyler Stevenson is an offensive producing catcher. My thing with Tyler Stevenson is he just doesn't get the games in. He's always has something that he's battling through. I mean, looking through his game log, 88 games last year, 138, 142, 50, 132, 8. So not a ton of, and as a catcher, you're going to get off days. That's expected. But a little light on the games for me. And a career OPS plus of 104, so 4% better than a league average hitter, which, hey, that's great. I'll take that, but I'm a little concerned with the age, 30. We know catchers just wear out way quicker than any other position. And the lack of games he's been able to give you on a year in and year out basis. And then you have one of your top prospects, the Alfredo Duno, who could come up, definitely not this year, maybe next year if he really motors up the system. But I don't know. I don't know what they do with Tyler Stevenson, because you're in a position where you don't really want him to walk because he has value and is valuable to your team, but you don't really want to tie yourself down long term to the guy.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that, because I mean 30 for a catcher is I mean that's a tricky age. You know what I mean? That's something where like you could look, he's 30 and at 31 he could be like, man, I'm shot. Like, I left that. I don't know. So it's definitely tricky, when you're dealing with that. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the financials, and I don't know what Ty Steve's team wants or what the Reds want from him. I just know when you look at like league average catchers, he's above league average as far as catchers, as hitting catchers. I mean, like,
yeah,
defensively he's gotten better. I mean, I'm hoping that he's still continuing to improve that. But as far as above average hitting catchers, like he's good. So I don't know what they're gonna do. You got the prospect there. Can you give the prospect a couple more years to be? Can you sign Tyler Stevenson a couple more years to let the prospect get time to get up there and be ready to go? That remains to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to what Tyler Stevenson wants, because for reference, Johnny Bench was done playing at 35. Granted, he kind of got a head start. He had his major league debut at 19, but
I was going to say, he debuted super young.
Yeah, super young, but just the age of a catcher, as we've said, it doesn't hold up as well as a 40-year-old first baseman in Joey Votto or anything like that. So I'm curious if they see that, if his team sees it as this is our one and only shot at kind of a free agency. So they want a 5-year or 6-year or something like that, which I don't know if the Reds are going to be able to commit to, nor should commit to. But if they could get, a 3-year with an option or something like that, like that would be awesome. I just don't know. I don't know where the Reds lie with Tyler Stevenson.
Yeah, the 3 years with an option would be ideal for them. I'm just going back to Johnny Bench starting playing baseball, Major League Baseball at 19. Could you like, and that was back in the day when like the catcher mask was made of whatever, like he just got beat to death. Like, God bless Johnny Bench. He was beats. Gosh, 17 years starting at 19, crazy. But yeah, man, I think the Reds, that in this instance you have to be smart, like you said. You can't give him 5. I don't think 5 is the answer, but you can give him 3 in the option. And for Tyler, like I said, I don't know what Tyler Stevenson is thinking, but I think if you offered him 3, I think he'd be happy with it, because the catcher's lifespan isn't long. But if you can make more money on the back end there at 31, 32, 33, I think you'd be pretty happy. And you get to stay a Cincinnati Red, which I'm assuming is what he wants.
I assume that's what everybody wants, but it doesn't seem to happen as often as I think it should happen.
Right. Yep. No.
So yeah, we'll see sure. We'll see how they approach Tyler Stevenson. Maybe they get something done before the year starts. We'll see. I mean, obviously we got all this year of Tyler Stevenson. He's going to play extra hard with the contract year, which you love that, especially with this team that they have. So hopefully it just works out. And whether it's he crushes it this year and earns that extension, or whatever it may be, we'll see. But we'll get on out of here. As always, use our code Riverfront to get $20 off your first purchase through SeatGeek. That can be for Reds games, like Cyclones games. It doesn't matter what it is. Use our code Riverfront to get $20 off your first purchase through SeatGeek. We encourage everybody to join our ever-growing Cincinnati sports fan family and support the show through Patreon. That's patreon.com/RiverfrontCincy. From there, you'll get access to our Slack channel, and you can communicate directly with us or Seth and get your viewer mail on Seth's Riverfront Reds show. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, not only to get the latest content from our show, but the Riverfront Reds show and Welcome to the Jungle as they get released. Follow us online. We're on all of the platforms. And please subscribe to the audio version of this podcast. It helps a lot. We're on all of the platforms, and it's absolutely free. So for Skylar Webker, he's Ben Brown. The Reds are back, and we're excited. So we'll log off. And as always, go Reds.
Go Reds.